Hello, I'm Kathy Evers, the First Lady of Wisconsin, and we, in partnership with the Wisconsin Historical Society, are here to share with you some of the incredible history of women's voting rights.
Today, we're used to political activists using recognizable symbols or colors to support a cause. Symbols like red for Republicans or blue for Democrats. These symbols help people show their support for a cause or a candidate or a movement that they care about. But it wasn't always that way. The activists who fought for women's suffrage in the early 20th century were some of the first people to use this kind of branding for a political cause. They chose three colors, gold, purple, and white. They used recognizable slogans like "Votes for Women," and symbols like the golden sunflower. This visual language encouraged people to speak out about their political beliefs and show their support. And it showed that the women's suffrage movement had strength in numbers. If you saw someone wearing this golden tunic in 1916, you would have gotten the message right away. Wisconsin women will vote. 1916 was a presidential election year. That June, the Republican National Convention met in Chicago to declare the Republican candidate for president. Organizers within the women's suffrage movement saw this as an opportunity to come out and rally together and show their support for the women's suffrage movement. They knew that whichever candidate won the presidency, having the president's support would help them achieve their goals. So they organized a march through the Chicago streets right outside the convention. They wanted to get the attention of the influential political leaders inside and everybody else in the streets outside. Wisconsin women traveled in large numbers to participate in the parade. The Wisconsin delegation was organized by Theodore Yeomans, who was the president of the Wisconsin Women's Suffrage Association. Yeomans helped coordinate travel from several Wisconsin cities. And along with a round-trip ticket to Chicago, you could get a suffrage tunic like this one and a matching hat. They knew that to make a big impression, they would need strong visual symbols. So Wisconsin women showed up together wearing these matching tunics to show that they were all part of the same team. Even from far away, you would have seen a sea of golden tunics moving down Michigan Avenue. That day, there was a terrible storm in Chicago, but the suffragists kept marching anyway, despite the blinding rain and the gale-force winds. Because of that storm, we don't have many photos from the parade itself, but we have artifacts and memories from women who were there that day. Standing in front of this golden tunic, you can imagine what it would have been like to stand there in the crowd in 1916. But we also have something more important than any object or photo. We have the legacy of the women who came out that day to demand our right to vote. The Chicago Parade was a major demonstration of support for the women's suffrage movement, and it helped add to the momentum of the national women's suffrage movement. Wisconsin women showed up and proudly represented their state that day. But they were no longer fighting for suffrage just within Wisconsin. Women across the nation were uniting to fight for suffrage for every U.S. woman. It was no longer enough to wait for each state to pass its own suffrage laws. They had turned their attention to gaining the right to vote through a federal amendment.
Join us in celebration on August 26th at noon. Ring a bell wherever you may be in celebration of this important step in voting rights. You can also wear white in peaceful celebrations as suffragists did 100 years ago. Show us how you are celebrating by using hashtag Women's Vote 100 and hashtag WI Votes for Women. Let's keep moving forward, Wisconsin.